just waiting for the teams to come out. So they're doing a light show and some flames going up into the night time here. He couldn't have been much clearer, could he, in his messaging there, Jamie, Liam Rossini, when we heard from him? No, even though he's only been here a few days, he expects his team to know what he wants from them, and he's not making excuses either for the injuries and the illness.
No, but to be honest, I will, because I think he deserves a little bit of respect for that, because it's not easy. Probably his best laid plans. He's set out this week, probably go with João Pedro and Delap as a front two working. All of a sudden, Delap falls down with illness this afternoon, so you have to change, you have to adapt, but he's not making an excuse right now, and he just wants his team. I like the fact that he's saying sometimes it's not always about tactics. I want this team to be run, I want it to be fearless, I want it to be brave, get on the ball, engage the crowd, a little bit like Newcastle didn't do yesterday. And I think if they can do that, they have a real opportunity today, but they have to be good at set pieces, because Arsenal, as we all know, are unbelievable.
And Jimmy, they did manage that in the league game. Despite being down to 10, they did have the energy of the crowd, and at times it felt like they rattled Arsenal a bit in that game.
They did exceptionally well without the ball, but also with the ball. With the ball, they were really calm. They had opportunities. They made Arsenal really work really hard for it. And what Jamie just said, they were very much in control with set pieces. And if you can control Arsenal with set pieces, you have got a big chance, because they don't score that many goals in open play.
So we've had fireworks off the pitch. Let's find out if we're going to get them on the pitch. And join our commentary team here at Stamford Bridge, Alan Smith and Rob Hawthorne.
It is a huge game, a huge occasion, with which Chelsea welcome their new manager for his first game at Stamford Bridge, Liam Rossini, who comes up against the manager in Arsenal's Mikel Arteta, who was given his chance 6 years ago and grabbed it with both hands. And now the new Chelsea boss is hoping to follow suit. An early trophy win would be a big help. Mikel Arteta did manage that in his first season in charge of Arsenal. For Liam Rossini, if they succeed in this competition, the timescale could be much shorter, with the final of this competition a couple of months away. And he spent so much time talking about anticipating what it would be like. Now he knows for real what it's like to take charge of a match at Chelsea here at Stamford Bridge, with the real work about to begin. Liam Rossini's second selection as Chelsea manager shows 8 differences from the first. Robert Sanchez makes his first appearance in the League Cup in more than 2 years as he comes in for Philip Jorgensen. 3 of the back 4 change from the win at Charlton, with Wesley Fofana playing his 50th game for the club. Trevor Chalobah and Marc Cucurella return too. Moises Caicedo suspended after being booked in both League Cup games he's played, which will mean a deeper role for tonight's captain Enzo Fernandez. Estevao and Pedro Neto slot back in, probably either side of João Pedro, with Mark Guiu getting the central role in Liam Delap's absence through injury. Jamie Gittins is also unwell, Reece James has a hip injury, and Cole Palmer's expected to be back by the weekend, so Tyreek George and Shin Mayuka are called up to the bench. After successfully navigating their first hurdle in the FA Cup, Mikel Arteta, like his Chelsea counterpart, makes 8 changes to the Arsenal team for this tie, but he grants Kepa Arrizabalaga a playing return to his former club. Arsenal didn't have the Saliba-Gabriel pairing when they drew here in the league in November, but they're both fit tonight, and Jurrien Timber's expected to play at left-back. The midfield three's completely changed from Sunday at Portsmouth, with Declan Rice playing on his 27th birthday, and Martin Zubimendi making his League Cup debut. Leandro Trossard, rested at the weekend, returns this evening, and Victor Gyökeres gets the manager's vote up front. So after his hat-trick at Fratton Park, Gabriel Martinelli's on a bench that includes the former Chelsea duo of Kai Havertz and Noni Madueke. And being remembered here tonight is a former Chelsea manager, as the new one takes the reins at Stamford Bridge. Eddie McCreadie managed Chelsea in the 70s, promoted youth as part of his policy, made Ray Wilkins a captain at the age of just 18 years of age, but has sadly died at the age of 85. Well, as a player, Eddie McCreadie also had a significant role in Chelsea's League Cup history, scoring the winning goal in the 1965 League Cup final against Leicester, the first time they won this trophy. Well, they had plenty to say in the dressing room, but the players still have more to say to each other in both camps. Mikel Arteta has faced Liam Rosenior in a cup final, the 2014 FA Cup final, when Rosenior's Hull City side took a 2-goal lead in the first 8 minutes, only to be beaten by Arteta's Arsenal 3-2. Declan Rice, a former schoolboy here at Chelsea, who was released at the age of 14. Now as a 27-year-old today, he gets this first leg of the semi-final underway. Arsenal, who've had too many failings in semi-finals of late, looking to get off on a strong footing here, with Saka getting in early and giving Robert Sanchez his first touch.
Yeah, Gyökeres getting involved, didn't touch it, but backed into his man and allowed the ball to run into Saka's path. But that league game here before Christmas, it was noticeable from the off how physical Chelsea were, and I think that caught Arsenal by surprise. Yeah, they overstepped the mark, Caicedo did, getting centre half, but every man was pumped up in blue that day. And you have to feel that need to be like that again here against a very strong Arsenal team.
It was a good point for them, bearing in mind the sending off of Caicedo, which occurred 38 minutes into the game. They actually took the lead after that through Chalobah. Enzo Fernandez, captain for the evening, over this free kick. Mark Diu at the moment standing in an offside position, coming back as the kick is taken. Esteban started on the left for Chelsea, with Neto on the opposite side. They are interchangeable, of course.
Yeah, I think Neto prefers it on the right, and the senior man has perhaps got his way. Esteban, normally when I've seen him, he has been on the right.
As Marc Cucurella is just back from suspension himself. And it is a problem that Liam Rosenior will have to address, their disciplinary issues. 7 red cards already during the course of this campaign.
Well, we talk about Arsenal's corners. Chelsea aren't too bad at them themselves.
Yeah, they scored from one against Arsenal. Chalobah is in there for this. That was at the end of November. So in the 3rd minute, Enzo Fernandez lifts his corner, tries to get it on top of Arrizabalaga, but just misjudges it into the side netting.
Yeah, he had a couple of those actually at Fulham, where he's nearly caught the keeper out, trying to put it right under the crossbar.
Arrizabalaga, twice a finalist in this competition with Chelsea, missed a penalty in the shootout of the most recent one, and of course had that famed rejection of a planned Maurizio Sarri substitution in the other, which they eventually lost on penalties to Manchester City.
Yeah, never quite seen anything like that when he refused to come off. Amazing scenes.
Matured now, and very much the trusted goalkeeper in this competition for Arsenal. He's played in every round. Gets it back here from Saliba. And 1 or 2 jeers for him on his return here. I'm sure that's something that would have been entirely unexpected on his part. Gabriel looking for Victor Gyökeres. How he needs a big goal in a big game. Slotted through by André Santos and turned back by Jurrien Timber, who is chosen at left back ahead of Miles Lewis-Skelly, who's on the bench tonight for Arsenal, knowing Capier he's injured.
Yeah, it's a blow for Lewis-Skelly. He's got 2 ahead of him now for that left back slot. You wonder whether his future does indeed lie at Arsenal.
Sanchez has kept clean sheets in his last 2 League Cup appearances, but none in over a couple of years until tonight. Here's Santos. It's Fofana. Guiu involved in a tussle with Gabriel and giving as good as he gets there.
Yeah, he's got a real physical tussle on his hands, Gabriel, such a strong defender. Saliba slightly different. He'll nick in front of you sometimes. So he's got to be at it. He's got to be alive.
Here's Ben White. William Saliba, who was arrested at the weekend. Mikel Arteta did raise the spectre yesterday that he might have been a doubt for tonight's game. Given away to Trossard by Achiampong. Rice lining up as if to hurl one in. Instead goes back to Martin Zubamendi. The corner's given, even though Chalobah might have thought he played it against him, but he's actually hurt himself in the process.
I think all opponents would be trying to avoid giving away corners to Arsenal. Chalobah was trying to do just that. Just on the follow-through, Timber catching him.
Well, Chelsea may be good from corners, but Arsenal are even better, especially when this man is over them. Rice with the kick. And it's a clear header for Ben White. And the player who scored his last 2 goals against Chelsea way back in April 2024 gets off the mark here and gives Arsenal an early advantage in the semi-final.
But that's just incredible, isn't it? How easy was that for Ben White? They didn't have to do anything particularly special here, Arsenal. Yeah, the ball was delivered well, but Sanchez just gets blocked out, quite possibly by his own players here, and waves a hand at it and really gets nowhere near. I don't think Ben White was expecting it, but it's an instinctive duck of the head, and I don't think he can believe it ends up in the back of the net. Such a soft goal from Chelsea's point of view. Incredible. When you look at Arsenal, how do we cope with these set pieces, these corners particularly? You'll have a plan, but Chelsea's plan's falling apart there.
Well, VAR got involved controversially for a length of time last night. They've checked that one for a possible offside against Gyökeres, but have quickly decided that White's goal does stand. It was Gyökeres who was standing in an offside position potentially, but whether he was interfering would have been the question, and that didn't appear to be the case.
Well, thank Lord we haven't got another 6 or 7 minutes. I think he was standing in front of Guiu on the line.
So Ben White has his first goal of the season, his first since a double in a 5-0 win against Chelsea back in April 2024. What a start for Arsenal, who hadn't scored in their last 4 matches in League Cup semi-finals. They've been beaten in their last 2 under Mikel Arteta by Liverpool, and then last season by Newcastle, and didn't score in any of those games, but they've laid down an early marker here.
They just don't lose when they go ahead this season.
There's the evidence.
It's a test for this Chelsea team now, this sub-strength. Chelsea team, as we know, it's a young side. Their home form has been underwhelming this season. They're getting pressed high here.
And Zubimendi won it back. Rice slots it through. Trossard may have been offside anyway.
Well, clearly Arsenal have made it their mission to prevent Chelsea from passing it around at the back. Really pushing up high.
They nearly lost it again then to Declan Rice, but Santos managed to hold on. But Arsenal have worked that Chelsea backline already. That's the one thing you know you've got to guard against, Arsenal, from corners, and the simplicity of the goal they've conceded will cause consternation really amongst the Chelsea coaching staff.
Your keeper plays a big part, and of course your defenders do too. They're all marking zonally, but nobody attacked that zone. Ben White was stood in.
Here's Enzo Fernandez. This is Trevor Chalobah. Achiampong. Estabao. This is Fofana. Touched back by João Pedro. Through the middle with the goalkeeper this time, and Estabao looking to find a pathway through. No encouragement offered. Back by White, the goal scorer. Surprise goal scorer, you'd have to say, in recent form.
Well, it's not been an easy time for Ben White. He's had injuries, but he's also lost his place. Automatic one at right back.
Chelsea have picked it up here with Enzo Fernandez going for goal, but it's straight at keeper Arrizabalaga.
Just difficult to get an angle on that shot.
Timber has run it out. Fernandez wearing the captain's armband tonight. Reece James amongst those who's sidelined. An insurance policy, the second leg to come up in just short of 3 weeks' time, but Chelsea can't be taking too many liberties with that.
Yeah, they haven't had a chance really to get playing yet. They've looked vulnerable in these positions. Crowd are getting jittery.
High press from Arsenal has made them jittery. Guiu, swept forward by Fernandez. Right idea, because Achiampong had found some space. Neto on the stretch, drives it against Saliba. With Chalobah. Fernandez. Pedro keeping it alive for Enzo Fernandez. Here's Achiampong. Estevao. Fernandez got away from him. It is cleared by Bukayo Saka.
Decent response by Chelsea. Coming back at Arsenal would have been a shock to the system. Conceding that early goal.
Opportunity for them perhaps to just steady themselves. Here's Wesley Fofana. Chalobah, Trossard in pursuit. Chalobah standing his ground, forced into the area to give it away to Jurrien Timber, who gets it back from Gyökeres. Now Rice. Saliba. Gabriel, who scored Arsenal's last winner here 3 years ago. Been very successful at this ground. Mikel Arteta has never lost on any of his visits as Arsenal manager. Here's Saliba. Cucurella getting tight to Bukayo Saka. That was an eagerly awaited contest. Zubimendi, Gyökeres is free if he can find him. It was a little behind him. He's drawn it in anyway. And gets his shot away, which does get a little nick and earns Arsenal another corner.
They did well there, Gyökeres. Kept hold of it, took responsibility and engineered half a yard to get his shot away. Could have passed it back. Imagine how low confidence is at the moment. He's just got to keep going, keep trying to get away. His shot's on goal.
And it's Saka overseeing things from this side, and the scorer of Arsenal's goal already, Ben White, is amongst the overload at the back end. Plenty of others for Chelsea to be fearful of as well. Saka sends in his kick, hands on it, but not too convincingly from Robert Sanchez, although he may have been fouled.
Well, you're going to expect physical contact, but he looks a bag of nerves there. He looks vulnerable. There's an arm on his shoulder, but you've just got to be strong.
His position was constantly coming into question last season, widely judged to have had a better year during this campaign, Robert Sanchez, despite the sending off he got at Old Trafford earlier in the campaign. But he looks very unsettled here. Here's Achiampong. Here's Cucurella. Arsenal fans being taunted by their Chelsea counterparts about their lack of success in Europe, but it's all about this trophy at the moment, and Arsenal edging it.
And Chelsea can't find a way to pass out from the back. It's breaking down continually.
Here's Leandro Trossard. This is Timber. Rice. William Saliba. Now White. Gyökeres has made the run and finds Bukayo Saka. Odegaard.
Yeah, some ominous signs for Chelsea. Arsenal starting to enjoy it, knocking the ball about in the home team's half.
Switch of play from Saliba. Neither Timber nor Trossard could keep it in.
Well, they had a brief look at it, VAR. Look at Gyökeres just on the line. Is he restricting Gayu? Gayu's got hold of Gyökeres as much as anything, but we had this discussion at St James's Park. But the goal stands. That's the important thing.
Maybe a concern for him is that Gayu wasn't even facing up to the ball. He had eyes only for Gyökeres.
So many people do defend like that these days. The ball is inconsequential. Sometimes it's all about holding onto your man.
Gayu facing his own goal, and that's where the ball ended up, in the back of his net. This occasion. set them on their way here with João Pedro. Pedro's cross, it's beyond the reach of Pedro Neto.
Well, they've got plenty of blue shirts forward, but just a bit too much on it. Well, sometimes you need a bit of stardust, particularly if you're playing against Arsenal. And Chelsea's not fit. James, of course, so important to the side. Pure class when he gets on the ball.
We've got 5 games to play before the second leg, so the hope for Chelsea has to be that come the end of the game, whatever the scoreline is, it will be retrievable.
And I know Caicedo dives in too often, but I do think 2 bookings and you're suspended is a bit harsh in this competition.
2 bookings in 2 games. Those bookings from previous rounds have now been wiped, so they have no bearing on the semi-final.
He's so important to the team in the middle of that park, Caicedo.
This is challenge on Marino that led to have been sent off in the league game between these two 45 days ago. Marino it was who scored the equaliser. Here's Enzo Fernandez. And there's Santos to Chalobah. There's Achiampong. Just about wanted it played earlier. So he's been forced into a lengthy retreat. Santos. Now Cucurella. Neto finding a way beyond Saka and Ben White. And that's cleared by Declan Rice.
Nice, brilliant play by Pedro Neto, who's been one of Chelsea's most consistent performers.
Fofana, Cucurella, Enzo Fernandez, this is Esteval, Enzo Fernandez tried to square it to João Pedro, but it was slightly offline, and Saka looking to set Gyökeres away. Chalobah staying in control of that situation for now.
Quite got the pace to get away from defenders, Gyökeres, in those situations, but he's a hard worker and he did well there.
Here's Odegaard. Declan Rice. Fofana. Gabriel. Trossard finding a route through to Odegaard, who was taken down by Enzo Fernandez, who questions the decision.
Attacking the man before, maybe getting a slight touch on the ball.
Simon Hooper, the referee, was in no doubt. He's measured out there 10 yards from the free kick. And Rice, having already helped to produce 1 goal from a dead ball situation, is contemplating his options here. Gabriel often takes the lead in organising these kind of things. Certainly letting Rice know where he's heading.
He's the leader on that pitch. Gabriel doesn't wear the armband, but he's always at the heart of things.
Rice has stepped away from the kick. It's Odegaard who takes, cleared by Chalobah, but Zubimendi lashes it over.
An easy one, quite high, had to get up and over it. He's come good with a few goals for his team. And the signing of the summer for Arsenal, no doubt.
Had to score away from home, Martin Zubimendi. Goal kicks have to be retaken. Fofana back to his goalkeeper. João Pedro is fouled.
Yeah, slight tug on the shirt, but they are finding it difficult to work the way out from the back.
It's a poor record that Arsenal have in this competition, one that Mikel Arteta will be looking to change. Just twice they've won it, both under George Graham in 1987 and 1993. Chelsea have won it 4 times since Arsenal last did. Pressure here from Odegaard, but Enzo Fernandez resists that.
Certainly this contest, a different dynamic from the league match.
Esteban slotted it through. It's Achiampong who's through for Chelsea, and he was offside anyway.
He's a talented boy, Achiampong, but maybe it fell to the wrong person. Maybe Esteban in that position. Esteban who delivered the pass. He's been one of Chelsea's brightest players, the young Brazilian, early on here. It was going to be hard to beat the keeper from there. But he's a real talent.
Esteban did score in his last appearance in this competition in the 4th round victory at Wolves. Actually, Liam Rossini's first home game in charge has coincided with Chelsea's first home game in the competition this season. Having come through at Lincoln, at Wolves and at Cardiff in the quarterfinals. All 3 of their goals in the last round were scored by substitutes. Garnacho and Neto coming off the bench to make the difference in Wales. There's Fofana, Cucurella. Pedro's managed to shake off Zubimendi. Guiu, André Santos, Enzo Fernandez. And Pedro's managed to free himself. It was a really inviting ball he played across, but no takers.
Well, it's a nice bit of football from Chelsea, their best yet, really, in a dangerous area. What a lovely little pass that is. I think it was Pedro Neto into João Pedro. He's just dragged his shot. He's going for goal, but he's hoping, expecting somebody to be at that far post.
Chelsea forward line there, we're all hanging back, so no one there to take advantage. Here's Gabriel. There goes Trossard. Saka, Odegaard's made a good run, but he couldn't get it out to him quickly enough. White, now Odegaard, in towards Gyökeres, but it's Chalobah who meets it. Gabriel. Away by Esteban. There's Leandro Trossard. Sudden challenge from which Trossard emerges unscathed, and he gets it back from Timber. Trossard. A really promising move, which ends with Another Arsenal corner.
Last-ditch defending here from the Chelsea boys. Estevao doing his defensive work, it's always funneling back, but the move continues, and at this point he cuts inside and the danger signals are there.
Can Chelsea put their jitters behind them, because that's what we've seen every time Arsenal have lined up a corner so far. White scored from one, and it was taken from this side by this taker, Declan Rice. And he does handle that one safely, Sanchez.
Should do him a little bit of good.
Cucurella. Fernandez. Fofana through the middle to Mark Guiu. It's Pedro. Spread wide by Fernandez. And Estevao goes for it from the angle, ambitious, but certainly worked. Arrizabalaga.
They've continually tried to get the ball out onto this right-hand side. That's where the biggest threats come from for Chelsea. He catches this well, the teenager.
And Ozu shows no fear. The corner goes in. Goalkeeper does get to it. Cucurella waiting for the bounce, has to head it through in the end. And there was a foul in there from Gabriel. So Liam Rossini's team have settled themselves after the early shock of that 7th-minute goal, conceded almost inevitably from a corner.
And they've held their own, no question of that. This team have had to do a fair bit of defending.
Arsenal pretty much the toughest assignment that Rossini could have had in his first home match in charge. And it has proved difficult so far. Not beyond rescue. Alcaraz has moved the ball from the position where the throw-in was to have been taken, but referee's just turned a blind eye to that. Mark Guiu held it up well for João Pedro.
Again, plenty of space on the right flank for Estevao.
Here's Zubamendi. Rice. This is Gabriel. Rice. Cucurella. Odegaard was alert. Santos screened it from Trossard, but it fell to Declan Rice anyway. And here's Odegaard. Timber. Zubamendi squaring it to Leandro Trossard. He gets it back from Rice and hits it.
Timber in a bit of space to Trossard's left. There's a chance to have a pop there, but Zubamendi passes it up. It's been a familiar story for Arsenal centre forward. Hasn't had too many touches. It's looked like hard work. It's felt like it. I mean, talking of hard work, he has put in a shift so far. He's trying to engage those central defenders. But he needs something to go at in the box.
He's in there again. Losing out to Saliba. You the beneficiary of a rule change this season, which means you are allowed to play for more than one club in this competition. He started it scoring actually for Sunderland when they made their exit.
He's asking a lot of Guiu tonight, no question. Against those two centre-halves, against that defence in general.
Minutes to half-time and Arsenal with a narrow lead. Declan Rice helped to produce it. And here's the man who gave them that lead, Ben White. Saliba. Odegaard. Gabriel. This is Esteval. He always feels something might happen when he's on the ball. And he's made good progress here. Rice trying to isolate him. But he's not to be deterred. Trossard closest to him now. Thinks that was worth a corner, but he's not getting one.
He does show a lot of maturity the way he takes responsibility. He's been Chelsea's best player in this first half. He's trying to get his team going, drag them forward.
Saliba. It's Gabriel, always giving it away. Esteval unable to take advantage of the mistake. Zubamendi furthest forward here for Arsenal. Saka coming through too.
I wonder how he ended up being the highest Arsenal player now. Usual corner for Arsenal, the last one in that Sanchez had a free punch on it, or catch on it, without any challenge. Doesn't often happen.
When Gabriel scored his last winner for Arsenal at this ground, that came from a corner two taken by Bukayo Saka, which he eventually finished off. Another Declan Rice corner kick. Finest, cleared by Chalobah. Zubamendi. Here's Odegaard. Bucharest showing for it. Plenty of Premier League action to come for you this weekend, starting early with the Manchester derby from 11 o'clock on Sky Sports Premier League. And on Sunday, Wolves take on Newcastle from 1 o'clock. Later on, we're still in the West Midlands for Aston Villa against Everton from 4:30. And our Monday night action takes us to the South Coast for Brighton against Bournemouth, with Monday night football starting at 6:30.
Well, again, Chelsea making a mess of their attempts to play out from the back. Santos slipping in possession.
Well, Arsenal have been consulting with a throw-in expert as part of their latest attempt to make the most of marginal gains. Thomas Gronemark has been advising them. Declan Rice slings this one in. Zubimendi gets it forward. Eventually ends up back with Rice. Saliba! Oh, tried to curl one, ends up on the roof of the net.
Well, he couldn't resist it in the end. He was invited to shoot. See the blue shirts just back off here, give him a bit of space. He's found the net from those positions before.
Here's Saka. Fell a bit short for Odegaard, but not good enough. Pedro looking for help. White keeping him locked in. Zubimendi in the tussle with Pedro Neto. And Chelsea man gets the free kick. Achampa. Here's Wesley Fofana.
Of Enzo Maresca's playing about at the back, which a lot of Chelsea fans were nervous about. Nothing's changed.
A bit early, I suppose, for things to change. This being Rosenior's second match in charge, and there's always going to be an altogether more difficult one than their comprehensive FA Cup victory at the Valley at the weekend. Here's Fofana. And they're getting themselves into a spot of bother, so Sanchez in the end has to go longer, finds Esteval. And Achampa is pulled back by Trossard, which is... well, the yellow card is shown to Trossard, but I think Esteval may have had something to say that got himself into trouble as well.
Yeah, I think a lot of players, maybe the foreign ones, aren't so aware of this law in terms of getting a yellow card for waving that imaginary card. That was always going to be a booking, given that he brought him down, he was wrong side.
Yeah, this is a thing that's frowned upon. Fernandes with a kick. Esteval. Neto tries to place it in towards Guiu. Too many bodies in the way though. Cucurella. You can leave that. Here's White. Saka taken down by Marc Cucurella, and he's shown a yellow card.
Not too many of those. Battle Saka v Cucurella. Certainly Saka got his boot to the ball first.
That yellow cards have been wiped out. He's been booked in both of the previous rounds he's played in this competition. He's only just back from the red that he got at Fulham in the Premier League. Sweeping in his kick, clear to Odegaard. There's Bukayo Saka. Driven against Cucurella.
Time for concentration now, just before half-time for Chelsea. Cannot afford to be conceding a second here.
Right amongst those hopeful of making something of this. So close to the interval. Cucurella trying to keep Saliba under some measure of control. Saka gets his kick in. And Simon Hooper had his eyes on something, from which he's awarded Chelsea a free kick that relieves the pressure anyway.
Well,
One additional minute.
Chelsea haven't played badly. They've held their own in open play against Arsenal. It's just that concession of the early goal from the corner that makes it feel a bit worse. But his team have done okay.
Chalobah, Cucurella. His first time by Saliba, but not the second. Headed back by Fofana. Trossard tried to help it on to Saka. So, first half lead for Arsenal, and things seem to happen when Ben White plays against Chelsea. He scored his last goals against them. His latest is a significant one, his first in the League Cup, and gives them a half-time advantage here. Estevao tried his best for Chelsea with a shot from an angle that was kept out by Kepa Arrizabalaga, but Chelsea with work to do in this semi-final. At half-time, they trail Arsenal by 1-0.
Arsenal's 24th goal from a set piece this season is the difference between the two teams. 7 more than any other teams in Europe's top 5 leagues. And they didn't really have to work very hard for it, did they?
Yeah, there's been some good ones. The set-piece coach certainly earns his money, but this case, so easy. You can see there how they set up. They've got Chalobah, João Pedro as well, the 3 players at the back, and Fofana. They're almost on the goal line for Chelsea's perspective. And obviously the keeper's in a decent position. The players that we typically do with Arsenal, they've come to that back position. Corner comes in, it's a great delivery. But the goalie flaps it. It is so poor. He's weak. He has to be stronger. Obviously, and you look at that, another player I want to look at is João Pedro. Look at him there. He's got his hands on his hips. He's not in a ready position. He comes out. He sort of slips. Now he's looking at his feet. Watch him there. Number 20. Be ready. Ben White's at the back post. He has a little look at him. The 3 of them there. I don't like that position. Then he decides, OK, there's a corner against. I better engage. Comes out. Gets the wrong side of Ben White. Too easy, isn't it, Jimmy?
Yeah, for me, what is important, you need to clear that area in front of the goalkeeper. You need to keep that free so that he can go backwards and forwards. And you need to do that at the last moment. It's too crowded over there for him, for me, for my liking. The keeper should still do better, and João Pedro should still be closer to White. But initially, you need to make that area free for the goalkeeper.
Chalobah, Pedro and Fofana are probably the best 3 headers of the ball, end up nowhere near it. So that setup just hasn't worked.
Now, there is a similarity with this goal to last night's goal, and it was briefly looked at by VAR, and their decision, because it is subjective, is that Gyökeres is not impacting the ability of an opponent to play the ball, Jimmy.
For me, it's offside, like yesterday.
I wonder why you say that.
No, I understand. Look, yesterday I thought it wasn't offside, and today the same. For me, it's not offside. It's well worked from Arsenal, well done. We all spoke about it before the game that they are strong in them set pieces.
And he's not looking at the ball there, is he, Jimmy?
And he's not looking at
trying
the
to
ball,
look
no.
at the
If he looked at the ball,
Malik
he
Chow
clears it.
might have been able to
He
clear
clears
it.
it.
And they were able to do that very quickly. Jared Gillett on VAR, right, I'm deciding he isn't impacting anybody's ability to play the ball, goal, move
Thank
on.
goodness. Otherwise, they'd have to give all the supporters in there a duvet while they wait for it to decide. No, you can't. It was, at least
I think they would take a duvet, though, for that decision.
That is the only goal so far after the first 45 minutes. Ben White's header gives Arsenal the lead. We'll see you in a couple of minutes. They haven't created a bucket load of chances, haven't Chelsea, Jimmy, but they have carried a threat down their right, haven't they?
Yeah, and occasion they've looked good coming out there right. It's that little last final pass for them, a little bit more belief, a little bit more direct. Esteval had one shot that was a really good save from Kepa, but there is a lot more joy to be get from the right side, I think, for Chelsea.
I think they've done okay. I think certainly going forward at times they've found some areas, certainly with Achapong as well. I'd like to see a bit more from Gay, if I'm honest, Guy. I think the one worry would be at times they're playing out from the back every single time.
And you can feel the nervousness around Stamford Bridge.
It's a back four that hasn't played together before, and you're asking them to do things that they don't look comfortable doing. And Arsenal are lapping that up. They're enjoying that. Go on, and you keep playing that from the back. We've also seen Fofana at times go really high up the pitch and try and engage on Odegaard, and that's left spaces in behind. And I think, Sanchez at the moment, he gets a bit nervous. He's a bit edgy. And I think playing out from the back has just enabled Arsenal to just get that authority in this game.
I don't think that it is wrong sometimes to go a little bit more direct.
Absolutely.
You know, and play off the second ball.
Is the worry that it might come straight back, though? Is that their concern?
Yeah, it might be. But then at least you have got 11 behind the ball.
And mix it up. We're not saying don't play out from the back.
Yeah.
That's the modern game. But I think
it's
what
mixing
you're
it
doing
up.
is playing into Arsenal's hands by doing that. And
It's
the
having
crowd
that
are
balance.
edgy as
It's
well.
having that balance.
But I feel that in this game, from Arsenal being really in control, I do think Esteval will be the one player they're nervous about.
Arsenal a goal to the good then. Let's rejoin Alan and Rob.
Well, Arsenal's relatively meagre return in this competition is a surprise, bearing in mind that this is the 18th time they've been in the semi-finals. Only Liverpool have reached this stage more, and yet they have won it only twice. So Mikel Arteta, whose side have lost 2 of the last 4 semi-finals, is hoping to change the picture this time around. But Chelsea have been knocked out at this stage of the competition on every occasion where they've lost the first leg at home. It's happened 3 times to them, most recently in 2013 when they were beaten here by Swansea and couldn't turn it around in the second leg. So they do need something strong in this second half. They've got Guy playing up top because Delap is ruled out by illness, and they've chosen to play João Pedro just behind him.
Yeah, and of course what is not working in Liam Senior's favour is the bench. There aren't too many game-changing options, you think, you look at it, as opposed to Arsenal's.
Can the players has got out there change it for him without needing to turn to the bench? João Pedro was hoping for a free kick there that wasn't forthcoming. Here's Santos. There's Trevor Chalobah. Now Cucurella. White trying to seize his moment to get to that. This first 15-minute period of the second half is one that's been particularly fruitful so far for these two.
Good half-time team talks, mainly.
We're seeing you new to it in Chelsea terms. New to it as well at this stage of the competition. He's never managed in this competition beyond the second round before. Got to the first round with Hull and second round with Derby in his caretaker spell in charge there.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? He's in the big time now, Liam, and he's got to step up. It's all new to him, the scrutiny, the pressure, the expectation, the criticism.
Well, this is their prototype on the pitch. They've gone young, they've gone with somebody who is an exceptional communicator. Here's Enzo Fernandez, now João Pedro. Towards Neto, Gabriel decided that he had to take charge, and I think Arrizabalaga appreciated that decision.
Yeah, it's first rule of defending, if in doubt, take charge.
Here's Chalobah. Now Esteban. Santos. Pedro Neto, robbed by Bukayo Saka. Neto trying to get back at him, but Cucurella was the one who got in front of him. Cucurella chasing back at Saka now. Ben White in support, pulls it right across. Gyökeres! Well, he couldn't miss from that range, but that feels like a big moment for the striker. A goal in a big game.
Well, you can see what it means to him, and maybe most importantly, his teammates. They're delighted for him. It's a poacher's effort, to say the least, this. But Sanchez, again, doesn't come out of it favourably. But there's a potential offside maybe over on that right-hand side. Saka and Cucurella. No, that's on. He just takes the weight off it, Sanchez. Perfectly into the path of Gyökeres, who will take that all day long, whether from a yard or 18, it doesn't matter. Oh, through two hands. It's like a bar of soap for Sanchez, that one. What a dreadful start to the second half for Chelsea. Brilliant for his team.
It's the first goal that Victor Gyökeres has scored in the League Cup since his first goal in English football for Brighton 5 years ago. Chelsea need something, and need something quickly. Here's Esteban. The margin of success for Arsenal the same as it is for Manchester City in the other tie.
Well, given the absentees for Chelsea and given the strength of Arsenal, this always felt like a game beforehand that Chelsea just needed to stay in terms of the two-legged tie, give themselves a chance at the Emirates.
Here's Achiampong.
Movement on the bench.
Nacho getting set. But a great moment for Gyökeres. It is his 8th goal of the season. His last one had come from the penalty spot.
I don't think he's ever going to look like a silky, sophisticated forward, but he is a goal scorer and he needs stuff to go at in the box.
Could Chelsea's route back into this game come via the same one that gave Arsenal their first break? Arrizabalaga did get to that, but was completely cleaned out.
There's a high boot in there.
It's Fofana.
Positive goalkeeping. Like a kung fu kick, that one from Fofana.
Well, the height of the boot is such that he's probably lucky he didn't make greater contact. Be a double change here from Chelsea, one an attacking change, the other a defensive one. Garnacho and Badiashile coming on, and Mark Guiu is the first one off, and Josh Achiampong is the second player to be withdrawn. Garnacho came off the bench to score twice in the quarter-final victory against Cardiff, and he's gone out to the left here in Liam Rosenior's reorganisation with João Pedro up through the middle.
And Fofana appears to be at right back now. Just gives you a little insight into Liam Rosenior's thinking. Maybe he will act differently to Maresca.
Here's Trossard. Cleared by Chalobah. Brought in by Bukayo Saka. Here's White. Saliba lets it go. It's Odegaard who strikes it. And that one's gone clear by Robert Sanchez.
Well, Arsenal have got it in them to take this tie away completely from Chelsea.
Odegaard. Here's Saka. Correa was hoping for a free kick for a trip, but a corner's given instead.
It always looked like an intriguing battle, this. Didn't see too much in the first half, but it's hot enough.
He's clearly chancing his arm there. Delighted Arsenal fans in that corner, enjoying what they are seeing here, as they can take away a lot of the nervousness that might have surrounded the second leg if the margin had been less. Plenty of movement going on in the middle, and Simon Hooper's decided to intervene.
It's Fernandes on Gabriel, the two of them having a good old push and shove.
So after a pause, Saka to take the corner. And he bends it in. Sanchez does get to that one. Rice underneath it with a header. Gyökeres has battled for that one and won another corner out of Santos.
Yeah, the Arsenal fans loving that. Chelsea have just got to try and hang in now. It's going to be a difficult next 10 minutes, the way things are shaping up. They've got to try and gain a foothold again in this game unless it gets away from them completely.
Rice's corner goes long this time. Well, never any question against his work rate. It was the end product that had been lacking for Victor Gyökeres, but Mikel Arteta has stuck with him. In some cases, really, he's had to because of the injury problems suffered by Jesus and Havertz. But now with those two back on the bench, it is looking an altogether stronger Arsenal squad.
Yeah. That might just kick Gyökeres into action.
Here's João Pedro. Neto delivering with a cross. It's all the way through to Garnacho! And Chelsea get a foothold! to get them back in it. It's Alejandro Garnacho.
Well, he's just hung out at that far post. It's so easy for a wide player to go in too early, but he doesn't, Garnacho. Pedro Neto does ever so well with the ball in. And look at Garnacho on the far post, just hoping it's going to come his way. First touch is enough to allow him to get the second away. Squirms maybe through the legs of Kepa. But boy, did they need this, Chelsea. The two-legged tie threatening to be ended here at Stamford Bridge by Arsenal, but the Blues well back in it now.
4 minutes after Liam Rosenior had made the change, Alejandro Garnacho comes up trumps. Saka with a corner, struck by Odegaard and well wide as it turned out. Chelsea want to get things moving quickly. That was Sanchez's idea in setting Fofana away, but Trossard was wise to that. Here's Fernandes, Cucurella, here's Garnacho, Badiashile. Couldn't find a way through. Good challenge by Timber. Can Esteban get away this time? Disappoints with the cross.
Well, there's a little bit of spice now to this contest. It's been livened up no end by that Chelsea reply. The fans are on board.
And they're on their feet. Fernandes. Garnacho. Garnacho's made a difference already. That one is cleared by William Saliba. Garnacho scoring only the second goal that Arsenal have conceded in this season's Carabao Cup. They let in one late to Marquet in the previous round, which took it all the way to a penalty shootout. Here's Pedro Neto. Garnacho again. It's Cucurella's cross, met by Gabriel and cleared to safety by Odegaard. Neto. Esteval. Well, Gabriel couldn't be sure and had to head it behind.
Yeah, not sure whether it was going to be on target, but it's a threatening effort. No, it's Chelsea with all the momentum.
And it's Enzo Fernandez with their corner. Wrestling going on in the middle and confusion in front of Kepa Arrizabalaga, but a towering clearance from Gabriel. Fernandes back in towards Badiashile, Rice away, Saka away. Here's Garnacho. Was that a hand? It was.
And Chelsea fans thinking that Saka had handed it first.
Here's Rice.
They'll just be wanting to try and quieten things down in this stadium, the Arsenal players. Take the heat out of it.
Timber. Here's Gyökeres. Trossard. Timber had it nicked away from him. Garnacho, and was foul. Or could he be contemplating changes now?
He's not short on options. Again, it all looks a bit uncomfortable and nervous coming from his feet.
It's the first game that Sanchez has played for the new manager. Philip Jorgensen played the FA Cup tie at the weekend. Santos. Here's Fofana. Neto. João Pedro. Away by Santos. Here's Rice. Martin Odegaard trying to pick it up again for Arsenal, but intercepted by Fofana. Here's Gabriel. Rice. This is Trossard. Zubimendi. Gabriel. So just having some success at the moment, and that objective you mentioned, Alan, of just calming things down. Saliba given space to run into. Saliba's found Saka, who was looking for a free kick there and gets it, just as Badiashile gets a booking.
Yeah, he protected the ball, Saka here. And this is shooting distance.
Changes that Mikel Arteta has up his sleeve. Mikel Merino is going to come on, so too is Gabriel Martinelli. But will they wait to see how this free kick pans out first? Looks as though they will. Declan Rice's expertise in these situations has been on show for all to see before.
Might just suit a left footer in Odegaard.
Odegaard scored twice in a home victory against Chelsea for Arsenal 3 seasons ago. And Sanchez has had a difficult night in the Chelsea goal. It is Rice. Well, maybe you're right. Maybe it should have been a left footer. So here come the changes. Leandro Trossard is the first to head off. And Odegaard hands the captain's armband to Bukayo Saka as he also heads for the exit. Gabriel Martinelli, fresh from his hat-trick at Portsmouth, the first of his senior career, comes on for his 250th game for Arsenal. And Mikel Merino has scored in each of Arsenal's last 2 matches against tonight's opponents.
Well, as we approaching the last half an hour, Arsenal have clearly got the advantage in terms of the quality of the substitutions, the ability to keep up the energy levels as well.
Fofana, Badiashile, Enzo Fernandez, here's Neto. Here's Santos. It's Garnacho trying to combine with Cucurella. Saka.
Lovely footwork, it really was.
Zubamendi. Timber. There's Saliba. Rice. White. Callum McFarlane, who minded the shot between the departure of Enzo Maresca and Liam Rosenior's arrival, and he has been retained on the new manager's backroom staff.
Forward so much, Timber, and quite often drifting inside into an almost set of forward position.
On by Esteval. João Pedro looked uncertain, was looking around himself, and was well aware that he would have been offside. Here's Zubamendi. Now Merino. Saka. Merino into the path of Gyökeres. Laid off for Zubamendi to strike! And just when Arsenal's command had been called into question, Zubamendi reinforces their determination to get this job done in 90 minutes rather than over 2 legs.
Yeah, it's a big, big goal. You can see the disappointment amongst the Chelsea players. He knows it's huge. Arsenal know it's huge. Just as Chelsea were coming back at the visitors, trying to get an equaliser. Gyökeres has got 1 goal. He's got an assist now as well with that little flick. But doesn't Zubamendi just shift the ball well to find himself some space? And that's really going to hit hard on those Chelsea players, on the fans as well inside this stadium.
On his first appearance in the competition, Martin Zubamendi comes up with a big goal to, for now, put down the threat of a Chelsea revival. But can Liam Rosenior's team come again? Here's Santos. Estevao. Chalobah. Fernandez. This is Benoit Badiashile. Garnacho. Fernandez. Neto trying to play with a cross to Cucurella, but he has to retreat for it. Cleared by Rice. Badiashile there ahead of Mikel Merino.
I just feel when Chelsea go to the Emirates for the second leg, they've got to be within one goal of Arsenal to give themselves a realistic chance.
Estevao. Done well there to win it back from Timber, and he goes on. Estevao's strike is against the legs of Gabriel. Fofana. Here's Neto. Neto into Estevao, blocked by Rice. And Merino gets the free kick that he wanted.
Well, Chelsea still got a sting in them. Neto and Estevao. Chelsea's probably two most dangerous players, doing the best to haul the side back into this.
Player coming on is the one who scored the first goal of the new managerial era, and what a goal it was for Jorel Hato in that 5-1 FA Cup win at Charlton. It started every previous League Cup tie, and he's going to come on here in place of Wesley Fofana. So another reshuffle at the back with Chalobah moving to right back.
You wonder whether Fofana, the sports science people have said he can only play so long. It might be one of those decisions.
Which is a big question mark that was left over the departure of Enzo Maresca as to who really has the say on this kind of thing. Ivica Balaga has just been shown a yellow card for time wasting. Screened that one from Badiashile, played through by Merino to Gyökeres, and Saka came in on it. Chance! Merino is blocked.
Well, this looked like a really good save. It's just all about scrapping for possession here. Ball lands really invitingly, and Sanchez saving it with his foot, does he? Merino catches this as well as he possibly could, and it's the toes of Sanchez keeping it out.
Best moment of what's otherwise been an awkward night for the Chelsea number one. Rice with the corner, White messing things up in the middle again. Saliba joining him in that quest. Gabriel came in round the back and headed it into the ground with such force it went over.
Yeah, just got above it.
And Chelsea grab for themselves another lifeline here. Here's Chalobah. Stopped by Gabriel against his own colleague. But Estevao still just a little too far behind to make anything of that. Here's Rice. Now Martinelli escapes from Chalobah. Zubamendi pulls it back for Merino. Martinelli driven against Hato. Tackle from behind by Merino has brought him a yellow card.
It's a yellow card all day long, that one.
Dirty game, but we've had 6 yellow cards, just one fewer than in the league meeting between the two, which of course also had a red for Moses Caicedo.
Yeah, and that was a much more physical contest, no doubt.
And Saka, Merino lining up a long ranger, fancies carrying on his recent record of scoring against Chelsea, clearly. Badiashile. Garnacho. Fernandes had earmarked Esteban to produce something, but the ball was difficult for him to control and he was offside anyway.
He's had some good games, Esteban, but I think given the quality of opposition tonight, it's maybe his best in a Chelsea shirt. Chelsea fans might tell me differently, but I just think he's shown so much maturity tonight.
Double change from Liam Rosenior. The young and the old, if you can call 28 old, which is what Tosin Adarabioyo is, the oldest member of this current Chelsea squad. Is the other sub Chelsea preparing to throw on. Here's Timber. Rice. Zubamendi. Martinelli seeking out Gyökeres. Bundles Badiashile over. 2 changes actually being plotted here by each team. And it looks as though Chelsea's changes are going to happen first. So João Pedro makes way for Mayuka, for whom this is a 7th senior appearance. He's won the previous 6. You would think that's a record that's about to end. Marc Cucurella is the other player coming off to be replaced by Tosin Adarabioyo. And Arsenal making changes too. Declan Rice is coming off, and the jeers are for Kai Havertz, who comes on to replace him, and Gyökeres is the other player coming off as Gabriel Jesus comes on. It's a strange one, isn't it, with Havertz, because the Chelsea fans have been taunting Arsenal all night with cries that they have been European kings, and yet Havertz, the player who made them that last, gets jeered as he comes on here.
There's no logic with football fans.
Neto, owned by Santos. In steps Mikel Merino. Garnacho. Here's Trevor Chalobah. Esteban. To try and fight off Jurrien Timber. He's had some success and made some good progress here, Esteban.
Not many get the better of Jurrien Timber. He's having a good go at it though.
Neto's corner. Garnacho with a hit! He's done it again! A second lifeline offered to Chelsea by the substitute. Liam Rosenior threw on in this second half. And they've got it back to within one.
I tell you what, that was not an easy take for Garnacho. And again, he just holds his position. It's not often Arsenal get done in these set-piece situations, but they have been there. Maybe Garnacho's a little surprised that it does find the back of the net, but he does well to control it. Those players throwing themselves in front, but they can't get a touch. And Arrizabalaga Balaga can't get much of a touch either. But they are checking.
Possibly the pressure that Tosin Adarabioyo had been putting on Kepa Arrizabalaga, who was at the back of that thicket of players when the ball broke to Garnacho and he struck it.
Yeah, I don't think he's done too much wrong there, Adarabioyo. And I wondered if they'd run out of gas, Chelsea, but they haven't. Clawed themselves back into this two-legged tie.
So the goal having been confirmed, Liam Rosenior's team are back in the match and certainly back in the tie. Garnacho, who produced a double from the bench in the last round, has done so again in the first leg of the semi-final. Fernandes. Back by Saliba. Marino. It could be on for Fernandes. He's got Esteban up to his right, and he's used him. Esteban! Flag was up anyway.
What a moment that would have been for him. Deserves something from this game, just a little bit over-enthusiastic.
He came up with the goods late on here in the league match against Liverpool, and he's possibly contemplating a repeat act, the young Brazilian. Gabriel Jesus. There's White. Driven against Fernandes. Zubamendi. Timber. It was difficult to provide from the cross.
Well, is there another goal in this contest? I wonder. It's been a brilliant second half to watch. Both teams going at it full throttle.
Zubamendi. Havertz. It's Zubamendi's cross. Clearing headers by Trevor Chalobah. Chelsea pinning their hopes on Esteban providing something. He provided this ball for Pedro Neto. And he's won a corner out of Gabriel. The home fans are sensing a sea change here, and Gabriel might be a bit worried that that's about to happen.
He's a warrior, that boy, isn't he?
Neto delivers with the kick, right in towards Adebayo.
Well, Louisa Balaga here wasn't strong enough in the way that Sanchez wasn't in the first half. It's a teasing ball in. And that's a chance for Adebayo.
I'm sure would love to waste plenty of seconds here, but Kepa Arrizabalaga has already been cautioned for that reason, so he can't afford to take too many chances now, with 2 minutes plus stoppage time left of first leg in this semi-final that's become nerve-wracking for Arsenal after they twice established 2-goal leads.
Yeah, fantastic cup tie. This is what you want a semi-final to be like.
Chalobah, Martinelli, Jesus. Here's Gabriel. Now Kai Havertz. Saka. Marino. Saka has won a free kick. Neto, from some distance, has been shown a yellow card.
There's dissent, and there's too much of that in the Chelsea ranks. This is a foul and a painful challenge by Andre Santos. I saw that indiscipline at Fulham the other day, and Liam Rosenior's got to try and get hold of it.
One of the things Maresca was unable to get hold of, not helped by the fact he himself was shown a red card for over-celebrating their Liverpool victory. There are 5 added minutes. We've seen a previous free kick from range sent over by a player no longer on the pitch in Martin Odegaard. But there's another Martin, going to have more luck. Zubamendi on the score sheet already. Lays this one out to Saka. Played in by White, beyond Gabriel Jesus. And Sanchez tries to hit Arsenal when they've thrown many of their resources forward. Jesus battling to get in front of Trevor Chalobah, who sticks with determination to his task. Fernandes looking to pick out Esteval, eased out of the way by Gabriel.
Yeah, showing in all his experience there, Gabriel.
Saka, Havertz wanted it played earlier. Now he gets it.
Well, they want the big hoof here, the Chelsea fans. They don't want this, with time ticking down.
Badiashile. Santos. Here's Neto. Positive charge by Pedro Neto. He was looking for Garnacho again. Saliba away. Now Bukayo Saka. Only way we'll do to get it out of defence at the moment for Arsenal, which is what White managed to do there. But it's a tense finale, this, for Mikel Arteta's team. They're the top of the Premier League, top in Europe. They've started their journey in the FA Cup with a win, but the closest they are to silverware this season is this competition. Potentially, if they can hold on to this, just 2 matches away from lifting a trophy. And Chelsea are one of the teams who've lifted the League Cup and the Premier League in the same season. They did it twice, 10 years apart, under Jose Mourinho.
There's clearly a gap in quality and class. Arsenal, a much better side, but Chelsea have done well to close the gap here. It's been a really battling performance by them, but for Arsenal, it's been impressive.
Gabriel. Here's Martinelli. And he manages to slide it through to Gabriel Jesus, who goes down. And he thought about it, but well, I thought he'd pointed to the spot, but in fact, it was offside anyway.
That got us going. I think it might have been a pen had it not been offside. This could have been the nail in the coffin. Yeah. Yeah, he takes him down, Hato. Don't think he gets the ball.
Mightily relieved man. Santos. Adebayo. Badiashile. Saliba losing out. Here goes Garnacho again. Esteval into the dangerous area. But from Neto's flick, it's held by Kepa Arrizabalaga. There's a bit of a spat after that involving Enzo Fernandez. It's come to nothing.
Well, every single one of these players will be well aware they've been in a game tonight. It's been rip-roaring stuff. And still plenty to play for back in North London.
There for the challenge on Andre Santos. Those Chelsea fans still have hope, but it might all come down to this if they're to go into the second leg in just under 3 weeks' time level. Sanchez kick. Advantage Arsenal going into the second leg, but it is a narrow one for Mikel Arteta's team. Twice they had a 2-goal advantage and were pegged back. Ben White gave them the lead with a rare goal, almost inevitably from a corner, and then they started the second half really brightly with Victor Gyökeres getting a goal that will surely boost his confidence to give them a 2-0 advantage. But a substitution by Liam Rosenior started to change things. Alejandro Garnacho pulled one back, and even after Martin Zubimendi had restored Arsenal's 2-goal advantage to make it 3-1, Garnacho struck again. There is a bit of a confrontation at the end. There was the aftermath of an off-the-ball coming together between Enzo Fernandez and Martin Zubimendi, which Fernandez clearly wants to carry on, and his new manager is playing peacemaker to try and keep him away from anything that might threaten his involvement in future games. For the most part, it was a game played in good spirit, and it was a really good game in which Chelsea from behind showed plenty of spirit and to keep the tie alive. But it has finished here at Stamford Bridge with Arsenal holding all the cards. Chelsea 2, Arsenal 3.
I can't tell who's meant to be arguing with each other, who's shaking hands with each other, who's pulling who away there. It's a bit of an odd end.
I think it was Enzo and Zubamendi having a little bit of rough. Something happened towards the end of the game there, but it sets up nicely for a good second leg now. I think from their perspective, Chelsea, they'll look at it and go, OK, we've got Reece James to come back, Caicedo, Cole Palmer. We were resilient, we stayed in the game because it could have gone away from them. It could have got away from there. Really good opportunities, Arsenal, to put this game to bed. He knows that as well. They could have been 3-4-1 up. But fair play to Chelsea. They hung in there, stuck with it. Esteval was fantastic, and that was his best moment. Garnacho in a Chelsea shirt, so he'll be delighted. And they've given themselves a chance, that's for sure.
Yeah, they showed some fighting spirit. It wasn't great receiving the second goal as early in the second half, but they showed the fight, they showed the way. Garnacho came in, he took his goal really well. Then again they had a setback by a brilliant goal from Arsenal, but then they stuck in and they kept on going, and rightly so, they got another goal, and they're still in the tie. And that's what you want, still in the tie with all those players coming back.
And I suppose, and we'll delve into this, as we go through the rest of the evening, as you would expect with a new manager only 2 games in and with several players missing, there are going to be some positives that we can look at, there will be some negatives that we can look at, and there'll be some individual errors that we will look at.
Yeah, there will be things in the game that he won't have liked, like playing out from the back and having that balance when to do it and when not, and playing through the thirds. But then he will be pleased with the commitment and the fight spirit and staying into the game. And he would think as well, they can play better. They can play better going forward. They can play better with the last pass. Esteval was absolutely amazing today, but he will expect more from others as well, and that can only improve. So there will be a couple of things that he thinks, okay, I need to improve that, but he will be encouraged with other things going forward.
A lot for us to get into then, and obviously we'll give you plenty of reaction. Arsenal winning by 3-2 here at Stamford Bridge as the crowd head out into the West London night. Confirmation of what happened last night as well, with Manchester City winning 2-0 at St James's Park. So then we flip the order in a few weeks' time. That first week of February, Arsenal-Chelsea will be first up on the Tuesday. Again, an 8 o'clock kickoff here on Sky, and then Manchester City-Newcastle the following night, February the 4th. And then we have a little bit of time to wait until the final, which is towards the end of March. March the 22nd will be at Wembley for the final. Has been one of the best playoffs that you could wish for in the NFL, and we are down to 8. All gets underway on Saturday with the Bills at the #1 seeds in the AFC, the Broncos. Then in the NFC, the 49ers go to the #1 seeds in that conference, the Seahawks. And then on Sunday, the Texans go to the resurgent Patriots. And many people's favourites for the Super Bowl, the Rams, go to Ben Johnson's Chicago Bears. And the Winter Olympics isn't far off, so Rob and Romesh team up with some of our Winter Olympians from the past, including Eddie the Eagle. Sky Max available Thursday. You not get the invite to that one, Jamie?
Oh, I didn't. It's meant to be good, though.
It will be good. Right, plenty for us to get into. Arsenal have beaten Chelsea by 3-2 in the first leg of the Carabao Cup semi-final. It is not all over for Liam Rosenior's men, but Arsenal had the advantage going into that second leg in February.
Rice with the kick. And it's a Ben White. Ben White in support, pulls it right across. Gyökeres! Neto delivering with a cross. It's all the way through to Garnacho. Marino into the path of Gyökeres. Laid off for Subamendi to strike. And just when Arsenal's command had been called into question. Neto's corner. Garnacho with a hit! He's done it again! A second lifeline offered to Chelsea by the substitute. Liam Rosenior threw on in this second half.
They are still in this, are Chelsea. 3-2 it finished here at the Bridge. Two of Arsenal's goal scorers, Ben White and Victor Gyökeres, are with Natalie.
Boys, well done. A really well-fought win here at Stamford Bridge. How did it feel?
Yeah, I think it was a tough game. We defended well. They were, as always, dangerous when they get counter-attacks, but I think we defended well. And yeah, unfortunately we conceded 2, but I think offensively we scored 3. So yeah, we're happy with that.
How much fight did you guys have to show defensively, especially in that second half when Chelsea was just pressing you guys until the end?
Yeah, I think we kind of done it to ourselves. We didn't play very well in the second half and let them give us more pressure really, and then yeah, that's how we probably conceded the goals and not up to our standards really. So it's a bit disappointing in the second half, but yeah, win.
Well, going to the positives, both of your goals, starting with you, Ben. Could you talk a little bit about that corner and how you got into that position? Because you found a space and had a quite comfortable header.
Yeah, we knew there was going to be a free man, so it was just finding that, and it worked out early, and I was free and managed to get into a good space. And
then the cross. Sanchez had a little bit of, so it's not technically yeah.
Is it not?
Yeah, because he had the hand. But yeah, but you guys have a really good connection since you guys played together at Brighton, right?
Yeah, under 21s, isn't
it? Does it help when you're looking for him in the box?
Yeah, of course. I knew he was going to be waiting for the ball across. Yeah, I didn't really look, to be fair. I just tried to fire across.
Did you see Ben's intention before he hit the cross? How? Because you guys really understand each other on the pitch.
Yeah, I think it's not his first assist to me, so yeah, I knew he was gonna try to find me, and yeah, he did. So it was nice.
Does that goal, Victor, shows a lot of your strengths in just being in the right position at the right time and just poaching the ball?
Yeah, that's what I need to do, and I can do it more often. So yeah, we won today and we keep going.
Well, how big does it feel, this win? Because they scored twice, but you guys showed a lot of fight. There's still the second leg.
Yeah, I mean, this is still the second leg, but of course it's good to come away with a win and advantage for the second leg. But yeah, we still have to do a good performance in the second match.
Well done for you both. Victor, your player of the match. Ben, do the honors, please.
My guy.
Thank you, mate.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sort of sense there's a little bit of disappointment there that they've let Chelsea back into this, don't you?
Yeah, I felt so. It was a game that they could have been really comfortable in. They made a lot of changes towards the end of the game, Arsenal. I just felt that goal that Chelsea got right at the end it's put a nice complexion on from the manager's point of view, from Liam Rosenior, but from Arsenal's, they'll be kicking themselves a little bit. I think they'll put on a brave face. Yeah, it's still a good result. And by the way, they took it before the start of the game. But this game could have been dead and buried. It had that feel to it. But fair play to Chelsea, they hung in there.
I would have loved to see him a little bit happier, though. Yeah, they could have done so much better, I think. And that's what they expect. But on the other hand, you're at Chelsea. Eh? You are at Stamford Bridge. It's not an easy place to come. You have won. You have scored, but you haven't done enough. Yeah, you want to do it more. Enjoy these moments.
And an assist as well.
Yeah.
That's probably his best moment in an Arsenal shirt as well tonight. In a big game, that's what they bought him for, Jimbo. As a number 9, you understand that pressure as
London Derby. Yeah, enjoy these moments.
Because that's what you're in it for, aren't you,
Exactly.
as well?
Enjoy these moments. It wasn't perfect, but you have to give Chelsea credit as well. They're going to keep on fighting, and they kept on fighting. Clear-cut chances, they Arsenal didn't really create. The really great goal was Sumimendi, yeah. But you got a goal. You got to go at a position where you need to be. You were there, where a striker is supposed to be and score. You know, so you have done your job. Have a smile on your face and keep on going.
Before we get on to his goal and his assist, we'll look again at the first goal. Now, Ben White said to Natalie there, they worked out early on that they would end up with a spare man and it would be him.
Yeah, I think they probably underestimated how bad Sanchez would do for the goal as well, because he just completely flaps at it. He's not strong enough. And I don't really like what João Pedro does as well. Number 20 there, you can see him there, he's pretending he slipped. You've got 3 players on the goal line for Chelsea. They're the ones going to attack the ball. Not one of them really ends up getting anywhere near
So there's 4
it.
on 3 there.
Yeah, absolutely. But then you've got João Pedro comes in to make the 4v4. Just gets under the ball. He's got his hands on his hips there, number 20. Why is he not in a ready position thinking, OK, this ball comes in, I'm going to come and attack it for my team? Look, he's not really looking at it, he's not looking at the ball. It's really poor, isn't it, Jimmy?
Yeah, look, you're there to do a job. You're there to stop your opposition having a free header. Be committed, go and attack the ball, and it's nothing difficult there. A little bit of commitment, and you can win that ball. And I think João Pedro will be very disappointed with that.
Can I ask you what may be a very stupid question then?
It's never stupid.
Well, it may be, but with your coaching hat on, you said you are there to stop your opponent heading the ball.
Yeah.
Why are you not there to head the ball yourself?
Well, maybe the defensive set-piece coach wanted the starting position for those 3 to be there. But then still, my mentality is, if I am not heading that ball away, you are definitely not heading that ball away.
But are we in an era of it's all about the block rather than somebody jumping 8 foot in the air and heading it?
Yeah,
That's what it feels like to a lot of fans. It's all about blocking rather than heading it.
Yeah, but at that position, he is not blocking. Nobody is blocking him. So he can go and meet Ben White and stay with him and have contact and head the ball away. He loses him. I don't know what has happened, if he loses the ball with the lights or whatever, but he loses it. And in that split second, he loses that concentration where White can head the ball in.
But there's an argument to say when teams go zonal, what it does, it takes away accountability. Because if you say to someone, right, I'm marking Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank before a game, many years ago you'd always have, that's your man, and I'm gonna stop him scoring. Yeah. Nowadays that's gone. I mean, but when you talk about blocking and things like, when I watch Gabriel, it doesn't matter. He's not blocking people, he's heading the ball.
Yes.
For his own corners and also when he's attacking corners. And I think that's where Chelsea were almost like rabbit in headlights.
It's a mentality
thing. Before that corner come in, I looked at them and I thought, they're not ready for this. And it's almost like Arsenal now, and don't get me wrong, they're incredible at set pieces. They are the best, and there's a fear factor now that's spreading throughout the Premier League and world football because of how good they are. But they didn't even have to do anything special to unlock Chelsea there. They changed it a little bit second half. They took those 3 men off the line, and it got us slightly better. And obviously the keeper come and took one, which gives you a little bit of hope as well. But that setup was completely wrong to start, because it doesn't matter what setup you've got. If you haven't got people attacking the ball, you have absolutely no chance, and no one attacked the ball with any ferocity whatsoever there.
The second goal for Arsenal, I mean, it's a mistake from Sanchez, but just from a striker's point of view, is this the kind of goal that will just... They all count. This is the kind of goal that gets you confidence up?
Yes, of course, because you're feeling the net as a striker. And look where he is. He's in the middle of the goal. And here, Jamie spotted it. He gets disappointed that Saka doesn't cross straight away. He is in the middle of the goal. There is where you score goals. There is where your tally comes up. End of the season, nobody knows how many tap-ins. Yes, he is disappointed that the ball doesn't come straight away, but he's still there. Yes, it's a mistake from Sanchez, but you're there to tap it in. And these kind of goals, you can't get enough of them in the year. You know, you're there, bang, goal, gets on. And you see your name on the sheet as a goal scorer.
And I think that will be I'm sure his discussions with, obviously, the manager, etc. This was a good night for him, exceptional night. But I can imagine, and I can't lie, I wasn't watching him at Sporting every single week, but a lot of the time, the crosses he would have been getting, with the system they played with 2 wing-backs, predominantly would have been a right-footed right wing-back and a left-footed left wing-back. So he gets crosses. Once that ball gets wide, they're coming into him, and he knows he can make that first run across the post and get in there. When he plays for Arsenal, the major problem is Bukayo Saka plays on the right, he's left-footed. Martinelli, the same. He wants to cut back on his right foot. So when Bukayo Saka gets into that position to start with, instead of firing it across the face, he wants to chop back. So that's where the frustration comes, Jim. Because in your era, we predominantly played right-footed right wingers.
Yeah, but he has to demand that. He has to say, hello, doesn't matter with your right foot, just put it in. Because the moment it doesn't come and he cuts back, as what you say, he needs to find a second position. And that is so hard for a striker. So he has to get that connection, that demanding of those kind of players to put it just in. And they will score a lot more goals.
So so he has to say to Bukayo, look, get that across the face for me.
Get angry, get it in. When you are past your fullback, only 1 yard, put it in. Put it in. Let those centre halves defend. Keep those centre halves honest that they have to defend. Because now they know the cutting back. Yeah, and rightly so. He gets upset that ball doesn't get there. You know?
Yep, absolutely.
I would go absolutely ballistic.
Would you go absolutely ballistic if you were in your first 6 months at a new club?
Even more so then.
Right.
Because that is where you start. That is where you put your rules down. You know? No, that's what I need. That's what I want. That's how we're going to win games. That's how I'm going to score. And you get that relationship, you know, with your wide players. Get that relationship. Make sure you say that to them. But you make sure that you are there as well every time. So that you score those kind of goals. You can score easily 10 of those goals. Okay, the goalkeeper is not always going to make that mistake. But if you go back, Esse has done that for him, where he scores the ball in the middle of the goal. It hasn't happened enough for him, and that is where they can help him a lot more.
We'll talk probably, I would have thought, about Liam Rosenior's substitutions defensively a little bit later on. But his substitutions further forward definitely did work.
Definitely worked. And I think as well, first half they were playing out and it was getting frustrating for the fans. This one, they actually bypass Arsenal's, it wasn't actually the most intense press, but then they get a little bit lucky. They win the second ball. Here, again, then I enjoy what he does here, Enzo Fernandez. He goes and wins. Then he wins a second ball. Then you all of a sudden you're going for another 50-50. The crowd are up. Then you work it wide and you got into the back post. You can see Garnacho there. Great run by Enzo Fernandez. He then occupies Ben White's space, which is so good. And this is what I enjoy what he did there. Enzo's role in this is so important. I'm going to highlight him because he goes and wins that one. Then he goes and wins a second ball there. Gets a bit of fortune, but then you need that little break. Then this is a run that Frank Lampard made all the time because then he would get into that area. Ben White would normally head that ball away, but he can't. Then it just falls because of the run. It falls to Garnacho, who finishes it really well. Nice bit of play from Chelsea. All of a sudden, the crowd are up. But playing out from the back, which they did all the time in the first half, it just gets the crowd edgy. I don't think the keeper enjoys it. The back four haven't played together before as a back four. Then they changed it up a little bit, bypass that press. Then you get a little bit of success. And I'm not saying that's what you should do all the time, but it's just a little bit of football intelligence. And it doesn't have to come from the manager. I think you feel that as a player at times, Jimmy, didn't you? This isn't on. Let's miss that out.
And there's no harm with it, you know? It's not written in a book, you have to play like that all the time. Sometimes that long ball, that directness is very effective. And you could see that intensity of Enzo changed. And he's very good at those 50-50s. And then everybody is in top of their opponent straight away. And then they win the ball. And you're forcing something to happen. And that's what happened.
But it's effective, isn't it? It's effective in two ways, that kind of thing. Because one, it makes the opposition have to rethink because you're doing something different. But also, and we're right on top of the crowd here at Stamford Bridge.
We hear it, yeah.
You hear it. It changes the crowd want that.
Yeah. But they need to figure that out for themselves. They need to figure that out for themselves. They need to figure that balance. Okay, now we're going long. Okay, now we can play. And we all want to see them playing to the third and beautiful passes and stuff when it works. But when you are playing against a team like Arsenal and they are brilliant at pressing and they want to win that ball high up, you have to go sometimes direct and change that dynamic.
You think, both of you do the Gyökeres assist is as important for him as the goal tonight?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this is what Arsenal do so well. They're good on restarts, they're sharp, they're always looking for that first pass. Zubimendi, I think, was talking about writing Cherki yesterday, saying sign of the season. I think there's probably a lot of Arsenal fans thinking, oh yeah, what about Zubimendi? And Zubimendi tonight has gone, oh yeah, hold my drink. I'll show you how good I am as well. I mean, that is unbelievable play. On his left foot, right foot, it doesn't matter. Is he a number 6? Yes, absolutely. Is he a number 8? Yeah, he can be, but he can be a number 10. Look at this. He's so good. He just takes it with his left foot, another good touch there, and a wonderful finish. And great forward play as well by Gyökeres, Jimmy.
Yeah, first of all, Gyökeres, well done. It stuck, it stayed, and you lay it off to your midfielder. And then Zubimendi, what a talented player he is. Wait, keeps on looking, keeps on being very composed, and then hits it with his left, and the keeper has got no chance. Very well done from the kid.
Great stuff.
We were talking pre-match, weren't we, off air about, obviously you were on the bench for the Euros final, and Rodri goes off injured, and
we're like that, aren't we?
England hopes and probably thinking.
Me personally, it was 0-0. I'm seeing Rodri coming off. I'm thinking, you're not saying it, you're thinking it. You're like, oh, he's coming off. Okay, yeah, we have got a chance now. We're gonna go for it. Yeah, we're gonna control the midfield, and then he comes in and
we can overpower this little fella. He can't handle, and all of a sudden just pop. Every time the ball comes into him, knows the angle.
So composed, so calm, knows exactly what to do, and you're thinking, who's that? You know, you already obviously know at Real Sociedad everybody's talking about him, but I didn't think that he was that good, and he knows what he's doing.
And he's also got 4 goals and 3 assists now this season. And for somebody who probably, when he came in, a lot of people's perception was he'd just sit at that base and knit it together. No, but that would have been the perception a bit.
He's so much more without the ball, and people don't talk about this. He sits in front of the opposition striker, and he reads the passes that come to that striker, and he intercepts so many balls. And the moment he intercepts so many balls, they are straight away off. And he plays forward if he can. He's got everything in his game. He's got in his game where he can start the play, he intercepts, he tackles. He is very good at that 1v1, and he bites, you know, so he doesn't let loose. It's like a little terrier, you know, he stays at it. He makes little free kicks at the right moment where he doesn't get yellow cards. Very smart player.
I think if we roll it back to when Rodri came to the Premier League, he found it tough.
He did.
He didn't have half the impact this guy's having at an early stage. After 8 months of being here, the goals, the assists, the awareness, everything that he's doing. I mean, he is... I'm not saying he's the missing piece in the jigsaw for Arsenal, because there's still a long way to go. But if they win the title, a lot of people will point at him and say, that was a real moment for us. Because he's freed up Declan Rice. You can see Declan enjoys. They've got a great relationship. He puts out in terms of his positional sense, but also every time he gets the ball, he's progressive with his passing. He's looking to break lines. He doesn't play safe all the time. Wonderful player to watch.
And yet, they will only go into the second leg with a 1-goal lead. How good a finish is this from Garnacho? Rather, how difficult a finish is this?
It is very difficult because the ball comes out bouncing, and his technique is really good. He goes on top of the ball, so the ball goes down, and then because it is a little bit wet, the pitch, it takes a little bit more pace, and they can't stop it. Very, very well taken. Really good technique. If you look here, he goes over the ball, and it goes down. Well done.
Arsenal get a lot of plaudits for their attacking set pieces. I don't know if we can just see that again, because that's as bad a setup as you could see. When the ball's when you're coming in, you're 3-1 up. We're making sure, can we get to the end of this match? You can see they're front loaded, everybody there. They're all the Arsenal players as that ball then comes in. You've got Bukayo Saka at the back post. If that ball then comes out to Garnacho, he's got 10 yards of space to get a free shot. That isn't really what you'd expect from Arsenal. Look, the three players at the back post, it could have fallen to any of them.
Yeah.
It could have fallen to, is that Santos? Or obviously it falls to Garnacho. That's really unusual for Arsenal to leave so much space there. And it gets them back in the game. It gives them a bit of belief because I think the manager deserves credit. It hasn't been an easy night for him. As I said before the game, you know, Delap is going to start for you. He's ill. You have to then obviously change it. You bring a young player that was going to be playing in the Youth Cup tonight. He has to come off the bench. I think defensively he must have made 4 or 5 different changes to that back four. And I think he's probably looking at it thinking, what is my best back four? As a Chelsea man, Jim, I'm trying to think myself, is it, you know, obviously Colwell's injured, he's really important for them. Is it...
He's got no Gusto,
is
he's
it
got
Fofana,
no James.
is it Chalobah?
No, he has got no Gusto, he's got no James, but also he needs to watch out with Fofana's load. So he has to come off. He can't play 90 minutes, and he has got Saturday to play as well.
Chalobah toss in. He's trying to fight. That will take time, won't it?
Well, he's going to look at everybody. I think he will know everybody, but he's going to want to give everybody an opportunity, and he's going to want to have a settled back four. You know, and he will make his decision.
I think that I honestly think they've got to try and, if they can, get someone in the window, a centre back.
Right.
I think it's important for them. I think they need another one. And not just another body, another elite player. And it's not going to be easy, but if there's anybody they could get in, I think that's an area where they need to strengthen. People obviously might talk about the keeper who's made 2 ricks tonight, so that's another area they've got to look at.
But it's all very well saying they need a centre-half. If they are looking for a centre-half, what kind of centre-half?
Experience.
But that goes against their model, though.
But you sometimes, but I think.
So, do you think they park their model because needs must?
Yeah, I think that if they were, they'd say not necessarily mistakes. What would we have changed, if anything, with this model? I think they would just sprinkle a little bit of what you call experience into the mix. Just someone like, you can't get Thiago Silva's, because they're just almost unicorns, those guys. But somebody that can just add a little bit of experience when things are going against you. When we see that set piece where they lose the goal, somebody that's going to organise, someone that's going to talk. You can't find John Terry's; they're not available anymore. They just don't exist. No. But somebody that can just give you a bit of authority.
Late 20s, early 30s.
It's all right saying it, by the way. But
if that is the case, that is going to be, especially in this market in January, is going to be really tough to find the right person, the right character, because that is going to be the most important thing as well.
It's been done before. Virgil, Liverpool side Virgil, and it changed everything for them.
Yeah.
So I think that would be the one thing that they probably just need to do, and if they can find some experience.
I think we would take Virgil.
but it's a January signing. He was one of the best
their former player is a captain of Crystal Palace and out of contract in 6 months. But is that not possible?
Look, I've seen him from close. He's a wonderful player. Very, very good centre-half. I don't know if they would be looking at him, but they will be knowing him really better than me. Yeah. You know, so... but
and Mark Gay's got the pick of his players by all accounts.
Yeah, I think in the summer, if he waits, he's going to get all of the money. So, but the downside is if he were to risk it, and if God forbid he gets an injury or something like that, then that's the risk you're playing with. But if he were to move now, and Crystal Palace won't want to, well, I don't know whether they want to sell him. At least you're going to get something out of it. I don't know. But that's a sort of quality that you want. A player that could really lead, has obviously had vast experience in the Premier League or whatever top league it is.
Just one final thing from the game to look at. You've highlighted where Sanchez went wrong tonight.
This is amazing.
This would have been game over.
Brilliant. Great strike from Merino. He thinks as he hits that one on his wrong foot, that's in all day long. He can't believe it. It's a really good save. He comes out, makes himself big, Jimmy.
Yeah, absolutely magnificent. What a save. He had a difficult evening, but this is one of the best saves I've seen. So, he's done absolutely magnificent in that one.
Merino probably thought that was in, but there's just the one goal in it. So, with Arsenal leading by 3-2, we will get the thoughts of both managers when we come back. We'll see you after the break.